Or some might call it an editor.
Am I an editor?
Don't think so.
But I edit the podcasts.
Right, but that's not what an editor is. If someone came to you and said, "Oh, I'm an editor,"
So what am I when I'm editing these podcasts?
you are an audio technician.
But that's separate, though.
You're a podcaster.
That would be someone who was overseeing this session.
What do they call it? I'm sure they... Thanks for so-and-so for editing this podcast. But I don't think...
Thanks to the editor for editing this podcast.
For me, editor is...
Well, you're wrong.
Someone for books and publishing and writing.
I feel like you can have the same job titles meaning different things in other fields. No, I'm wrong now.
Yes.
We're probably both
What
wrong.
are those people that... You've got like people that do editing in films? They're not editors, are they?
Yeah.
What are they called?
Editors.
No, they're not.
I'm going to Google this right now.
Because you have the director's cut and then you have the what cut. What's the other one? It's not the editor. Is it an
The
editor?
studio cut and then
Is it
director's
an
cut.
Is it an editor?
Right, film editor. I'm just going to search that and see what happens. The film editor worked with the raw footage, selecting shots and combines them into sequences.
Yeah. But if you just put in editor, what comes up? Because then you would specify by saying I'm a podcast editor.
The first thing that comes up is online photo editor.
Well, that's bullshit. Wikipedia editor. See what it is.
Weirdly, editor. It corrects me to editing. It doesn't come up as editor. Technical editing. It's the separation. I think there's multiple editors, but just within different fields.
Yes.
You're just fixating on one field.
I think traditionally it'd be in books, wouldn't it? I imagine.
But what's tradition anymore?
Oh, Ben.
It's 2019.
Oh, Ben.
Get with the times. Should we start this podcast?
No. Hello, and welcome back to another week of Two Sheep in a Pool. My name's Ben.
That threw me so much. I literally couldn't get words out. I was like, who am I?
No, I'm actually James.
Oh, God. And I'm Ben, I think.
Sorry if I put that on the... I've just fooled you
I'm
now.
too tired for this.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You know when you're so tired when you wake up that you can't form a sentence?
Sometimes.
Like when you get woken up kind of abruptly.
Oh, yeah.
But then
yeah.
you haven't actually got woken up abruptly on this particular morning. You're just dumb.
I'm
having one of those days.
I think that's because you go to bed so late, Ben.
I wasn't that late last night.
You need to hit the sacks at 9 o'clock like me.
Yeah. I genuinely thought, because I texted you, I think 7:30 last night, but then didn't get a response for a couple of hours, and I was like, is he in bed already? And then you did text back, I can't remember what it was.
No, I was out with friends. So other friends.
other
Yeah, I
friends?
know, Ben. I'm
What?
sorry.
What's all right, because I was out with other friends last night too.
Ooh.
Bitch.
Right.
I feel like the past 3 weeks we've had really weird openings.
Yes. Maybe we're just getting weirder and weirder.
Probably. I'm so thrown off the train of how this podcast works
sorry,
after
right.
that intro.
Okay, let me tell you a little story then.
Go on. Entertain me.
So the other day, I was walking around the flat, and me and Annie was there, and I had in my head, head, shoulders, knees and toes, and I was singing out loud.
A classic.
A classic. And then I got to the bit that's like, and eyes and ears and mouth. And as I was singing that, I went past my girlfriend Annie and then like grabbed her ears as it was ears. I was like, ears, like this. And she's like, had a little bit of a joke. Right? We'll get there. That's not it. That's not the full story. The only reason I'm telling this, we'll get to it.
Okay.
Then Annie starts singing it. And then as I walk past her, it comes to the same part and she goes, eyes, and just pokes me in the eye. Like full on. And then no apology. I was like, why did you do that? And she was like, I meant to.
I thought you were going to say, and no apology, she punched you in the stomach straight after.
No. She was just like, oh, well, because, with the ears, and then she just stabbed me in the eye.
Does she realise that eyes are painful if you poke them?
Yeah, I think so. And then after, I was like, are you sorry? She's like, oh, yeah,
to.
I'm sorry. But I did mean to do it. I was like, why are you saying this to me?
I feel like an eye is not something that you can delicately poke. I think you can almost like slap someone or kind of fake punch them a bit. You can't really fake poke someone in the eye.
Yeah,
because a poke in the eye is just a poke in the eye.
You often get like maybe like a jokey hit on the arms. Like you could probably take quite a bit of a beating on your arm.
Yeah.
Your eye doesn't take much of a beat. Like it gets beaten by grains of sand.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? So I don't want to finger in
much.
there. Yeah.
Well, what a horrific person.
No, she's lovely, but I just.
Are you sure after that story?
I just don't know why she did it. I don't know. And I thought as well that I would update the people on the bird situation.
Oh, go on. I want updates on this.
Yeah. So, I sent you a photo of the bright pink flamingo.
Yeah.
It did have the heron there as well.
Yeah.
And then just around the corner, you can't see it, but the owl is
The
still
owl
there.
is there.
And then
Is there a new?
The day after,
Yeah.
the flamingo was gone
Oh.
and just disappeared. So it just completely gone.
I was hoping you were going to say that they'd moved on to mythical. There was like a hippogriff,
No,
maybe. No.
but it got removed.
All of them,
not
or just the flamingo?
just the flamingo.
Oh.
So that makes me think it was kind of someone taking the mick.
Yeah.
But then I saw a cormorant on the lake, which is an actual bird.
There was an actual bird
An
this
actual
time.
bird there, yeah. Which
Not
is
an actual flamingo.
not an actual flamingo, but an actual cormorant, which
Yeah.
is interesting.
I hope that we've not got any new listeners this week because out of context, this will be very hard.
Yes. Well, if you are a new listener, go back and listen.
Yeah.
Get another.
We've had a varied past with birds on this podcast. I've had a parrot on my balcony.
Yeah.
Fake birds, real birds,
Real birds.
Birds. I'll have to get another update from the man who
Parrotman.
stole the parrot.
Yeah. He's probably killed himself because that parrot won't shut up.
It did sound like he was getting bullied by the parrot. So was that your complaint this week that you
Oh, it's just a funny
got
story.
beaten up? Have you got a complaint this week?
Well, I thought we could talk about this. Have you seen that JK Rowling has been in the news recently?
If it's for what I think it is, then
Yes. So I think the DVD or something of the Crimes of Grindelwald's just come out with her doing a voiceover.
Great film, yeah, great film. We
doing a
famously
voiceover.
loved it on this podcast.
We did. So she comes out and then was talking about Dumbledore and
coming out, yeah,
and his relationship with Grindelwald. Grindelwald.
Yeah.
And she was kind of like, oh, I've got it.
Well, the word that's springing to my mind is, did she not describe their relation? She seems to have a bit of a reputation for writing things, not including things in the script overtly or in any form, really.
Yeah.
And then we'll just come out in interviews and say, just add random bits in. And didn't she just come out and say that their relationship is intensely sexual?
Yes. Which was like, did you show that in the film at all? We came back and discussed it, and I was like,
you didn't even know they were.
Like I knew that Dumbledore was gay, right? But the film didn't make it explicitly like you didn't show them kissing or anything like that. They were kind of like blood brothering it up.
Yeah, you thought there was a blood brother pact, didn't you?
Yeah, or like, we're the best of friends. I never want to hurt you ever again.
So then when you find out the information that scene was meant to be intensely sexual.
Proper bumming.
Yeah.
So, and I've got like a list here of all the different things that she's come out and said.
Go on.
So Hermione was never specified to not be black, so she could be black.
Yeah.
Apart from that she was. It's like, she said like she's got a pale face.
Oh.
And then like all the book covers where she's like white.
Yeah.
And obviously JK Rowling's got to approve of those.
Yeah.
Some of this. So there's a long list. The ones that really bother me. Voldemort wasn't as evil as Donald Trump.
Okay.
So like she's come out and said that. Like, you kidding? Someone that goes around and kills people.
Yeah. I was going to say we know straight off the back just from the stories that he killed at least 7 people because of the Horcruxes.
Yeah.
Not to mention
the people that he's told to be killed. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, the Bellatrix and Voldemort had sex stuff because that came out in the book, didn't it? The Time Turner one. Is that not their kid?
I can't remember that. Oh,
Bellatrix.
Yes, okay,
yeah.
I do remember this now. We should probably spoilers.
Spoilers. Yeah. Oh, and did you hear about the one that was wizards didn't used to have toilets? Have you heard this one?
I've not.
Wizards didn't used to have toilets, so they would just poop anywhere and then just magic it away.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What?
That would suggest that, say Wizards were in Liverpool, where we are now, you'd just be walking down the street and someone would just squat on the pavement. Was that acceptable? Did they have designated areas?
I don't know. Or did they just poop in their pants and just clean it away?
Oh, maybe. I mean, it'd be convenient.
Yeah, but then right, so then you have the Chamber of Secrets, which is the entrance is in a bathroom. Was it built over the entrance, or was the entrance always in a bathroom?
That's true. That doesn't really hold up logically in any way, that one, does it?
Or does it say in the film books that it was rebuilt, that bathroom? Could have been destroyed. Anyway, I just thought she just goes back and changes all these things, or adds them in post-mortem. I think, does an author have the authority to do that over their books? Do you know what I mean?
I mean, technically, yes.
Should she?
Yeah, that's a different question. I was going to say, as the creator of something, you kind of are free to do what you want. I feel like another example is George Lucas is kind of famous for doing this.
Yeah.
Because he's even tried to do a bit since selling the rights to Star Wars.
Has he really? What's he done?
He's not like he's not released anything, but he'll in interviews he'll be like, well, I was actually planning if it was me doing it still, I'll do this, and he'll just go off on a tangent about
yeah, because he goes back to all the original films and adds in all these extra special effects that are not really necessary, don't add anything to the film.
I think that everyone has the right to do that with their own content, but maybe pick your words better before just coming out with it. I think in an age where the internet is what it is, so many fans are going to go haywire with the things that are said.
Yeah. I think she's come out and saying this because she does truly believe it, but it's also kind of pandering to those people that felt that it wasn't inclusive enough in the first place. Yeah. So reading it as a kid, I never had any issues because I was a kid. It didn't bother me. I'm a cis white man, so it kind of fit into my stereotype. But for those people that didn't feel like that, I feel like you're now just trying to pander to them.
I was going to say, if she felt so strongly about it at the time, write Hermione as a black character. There's nothing wrong with that. No. But don't write her specifically as a white character and say she's white and then later go, she's black. Yeah. Like, that's not helping anyone. No. You just look like you're pandering to try and gain support. And the reason that, Dumbledore's probably not explicitly gay in the books is probably because it might not have sold as well. Yeah. Like, if it came out as, I'm Dumbledore and here's my boyfriend, the head of whatever. Yeah. The books might have, they already had like a bit of an uproar about them because it was about magic, wasn't it? Did you ever have that in school? Where there were like some kids that couldn't watch the films and couldn't read the books? Oh, no, I never had that.
So I went to a very Christian school.
Okay.
And so there were some kids that were like disallowed from watching it because magic is not part of Christianity. Anyway, but like if you had then also throw in gay with that, and gay is a big issue for Christianity.
Because I think if she wrote him as a gay character, but just didn't throw it in everyone's faces that he is a gay character, that's fine because it's not essential to the story, anyone's sexuality in Harry Potter. But I kind of get the impression that it's less of that and more, like you said, that she's just deciding now to come out with stuff. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
For sure. Yeah. For sure. Because then you, like, if you reread the books, then you're like, oh, well, it doesn't actually affect them.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't matter, really.
No. But nothing matters.
Nothing matters. What's the point? True. Let's just stop the podcast. Right.
News bleat.
Unless
you got anything else?
No. I don't want to get too bogged down in movie news, but I thought this was interesting. Do you remember James Gunn?
Yes.
So, a quick recap. James Gunn directed Guardians of the Galaxy for Marvel.
1 and 2.
Then he was fired by Disney after someone pointed out some tweets that he made, I think 10 years ago. Yeah. They were pretty bad tweets. They were meant to be jokes. I think he was just trying to spark a reaction.
It would just be a bit edgy.
Which he'd apologized for in 2012, said he recognized his actions were bad, etc., etc. And then 10 years later, someone just pointed them out again, and Disney decided to fire him.
Right.
Based on this.
Yeah.
So he then went to rival studios, DC, and became attached onto one of their movies, Suicide Squad. Mm-hmm. And then since then, Disney have gone back on their word and they've rehired him.
But he's still going to make Suicide
But he's
Squad.
still going to make Suicide Squad. And this has spawned all sorts of conspiracy theories that Disney intended to fire him so he'd go on to DC and purposely write a bad script and tank that film and then have him back.
Right. But this wasn't the original Suicide Squad that was bad.
No. Well, I think
This is
DC...
a reboot,
I've
isn't it?
spoken about how much I think DC are just flailing at the moment.
Right.
They've announced that Suicide Squad 2 is not Suicide Squad 2. It's going to be called The Suicide Squad, and it's a reboot.
Yeah. Of a film that was made like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Crazy.
The whole thing just seems very messy.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that they've rehired him because it seemed like such a snap reaction for no real reason to fire someone.
Yeah, I remember at the time thinking that there must be something else,
Yeah.
that this isn't the full reason, but nothing ever came back out, and it must be if they've rehired him.
Yeah. I think the likely thing is that they probably, maybe even told him at the time, they said, we're going to fire you to save our name in the
Damage
press,
control, yeah.
and then when the dust's settled, we'll have you back type thing.
Yeah.
But
But yeah, I think that's fine.
it is what it is. He's back anyway, so I'm happy about that.
Yes. Did you... So I think we may have mentioned this when we watched Crimes of Grindelwald.
Grindelwald, yeah.
Grindelwald. That Johnny Depp had been accused
Yes.
by his ex-wife, of beating her. And there was pictures, she put pictures up in a video, and it's now come out that this was all fabricated by her.
Yeah.
He went and found like 87 different videos of their home recording where I think it's shown that she's the one that's being abusive, and that the tape that she originally had of him being aggressive was like just after his mother had died, and she'd been like winding him up or something, and it was like heavily edited to make him look really bad.
I feel like it's this is a slightly sketch one, isn't it? Because it's all ongoing, and nothing's actually been like happened in court yet.
No,
completely. But if it is the case, because it definitely tainted my picture of him when all this came out, so I take back. I don't know if I said anything on this podcast when we were talking about it, about him.
Yeah,
but I feel pretty bad for him if it is what's being said now in his defense, because she did sound like he's claiming that she'd done some pretty bad stuff to him.
Yeah.
I think she'd like broken his fingers with a bottle or something.
I heard he ripped his fingertip off. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it is a little bit of he said, she said.
Yeah.
But he seems to have much more evidence now.
Yeah.
But it's crazy that he's had to go through all this
for quite a long while.
Yeah.
This wasn't like a month ago. This was over the span of a couple of years, I want to say.
Because I remember speaking to my girlfriend about it, and she was quite heavily angered with his appointment in the Harry Potter, because
I remember thinking the same.
Why should someone who is accused of being abusive?
Especially, I remember this struck me as strange when, for example, in similar things like we were just saying with, I know it's a different company, but with Disney firing someone over a tweet from 10 years ago, with what's effectively a family franchise, with a studio hiring someone who had been, at that point, known to be abusive. It seemed strange.
Yeah, I think as a company, you would probably not do it just because you don't want to be associated with them, but maybe it was too late at that point.
Yeah.
Or whatever, or they truly believed that he was innocent. Yeah,
and it kind of looks like it's going that way now.
Yeah,
I'm sure more will come out in the next couple of weeks, but the evidence does seem pretty damning against her, because I think he's got a lot of staff members as well that witnessed a lot of things.
Yeah,
but yeah,
it's a rough time to be Johnny Depp.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see what happens there, actually, because it definitely tainted my image of him, and if that is not true, then I hope that the truth comes out. Yeah,
truth prevails, hopefully.
Right.
Fake news or
some
not?
pretty heavy news then.
Well, it was pretty heavy.
Yeah.
Apart from people pooping in their pants. That's not heavy.
Nope.
Right. Fake news or not? Are you ready?
What is it, James? For all our new listeners.
Fake news or not? Can you not just... Can 1 week? Can you not just cut? Shall I
just make a thing that we can insert?
Yeah. Okay. Although will that get quite boring? Might do.
Yeah.
This week, because usually I say something horrific, don't I?
Yeah.
I've brought to the table this week 2 news articles that are either fake news made up by myself, or are real ridiculous news stories, and Ben has to work out whether or not they're fake news or not. And the score at the moment, I've calculated it.
Oh, I've calculated it too.
210 to me, 0 to Ben.
Hang on, this isn't what I got. I actually... for the past 2 weeks, I said I was going to tally this up, and I have a week-by-week play of how this has all gone. Would you like to hear...
Is there a graph? I want to see like a graph.
I was going to put it in a graph, but it's just in a table. Okay. I've colour-coded it, though.
Okay.
Right. I was actually very surprised by the outcome here.
Okay.
Or the outcomes over there. So, okay. Currently...
Do you want to just give us... are you going to go through all 23 weeks and tell us who won or not? Or?
Do you want me to do that?
No.
Okay.
I think that'd be boring.
The current total
Yeah.
is 18 to me.
Right. 17
to you.
No.
It is.
That's just not right, that.
I was genuinely surprised because I thought that you were going to be comfortably in the lead. It's almost always been neck and neck.
That's it.
Pretty much.
Wow.
You were leading for 3 weeks. There was a period where you were getting further and further ahead. And then we had a few draws, and then I've pulled it back. I had a very good, about 3 weeks ago, I think it was.
Yeah.
I had a good run, and now we're a point.
How have you counted it with? Do you have to get both right to get a point, or is each one count as a...
I actually went back. I think we discussed it 2 weeks ago.
Right.
On how we were going to do it.
Yep.
And I think we mutually decided 1 point for correct. Whoever guessed it correct.
Yeah.
Basically.
That's fair enough.
So I'm winning by 1 point.
Gosh.
So that's added a lot more pressure onto today.
Are you an advantage though? I'm trying to think.
Well, I was trying to work this out. You actually made it harder. There was 1 week where you did five.
Yeah.
But there wasn't 5 points available because you prefaced it with only one of these is fake. So there was only 1 point that week.
Right.
Anyway. Okay.
This week.
On fake news or not.
Gosh, it's quite close now. I feel a bit more tension. Okay. France's EU minister names her cat Brexit because when she opens the door, he won't go out.
I really want that to be true. Okay. That sounds great.
Yep.
Yeah.
And my other one is a cow escapes. Mm-hmm. It runs away from police, blocks traffic, and then goes through a Chick-fil-A drive-through.
Did it order anything on the way through?
It didn't.
Oh, okay.
It's a cow.
Silly me. You've gone for an animal theme this week.
I have. I do enjoy a good animal fake news or not.
Right, go back to this first one.
Yes.
Is there any more details you can give me?
Yeah. She goes to put out the cat. He opens the door. The cat will look at her and doesn't want to leave. So it meows to want to go out. And then it doesn't go out, and then she picks it up and puts it outside, and it's not a happy cat when she does that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So are you saying that this is a new cat? It's a kitten that she's named, or is it a cat that she's had a while and she's renamed it Brexit? Like a nickname?
I don't know.
Oh. Okay. Next one. How was the cow just on a farm?
Well, it wasn't working in an office.
Well, I gathered as much. I'm guessing this is America because I don't think we've got any Chick-fil-A's over here.
Yes. It was in Indiana.
Convenient that you you made that up. Okay. And it was just running through the streets.
Yeah, it escapes. There was photos taken of it as it was running down the road, blocking some
what
traffic.
Does a cow do? Does it run? Does it gallop? Does it lollop?
This cow was only walking.
Only walking.
Yes.
Well, they can't have been trying very hard to catch it then.
I think the thing is a cow can go over both sides of the traffic, whereas a car, do you know what I mean? Sometimes it's easy to get away from a car if you're running.
If it's walking, though, surely they could just get on foot and...
These are cops, not cowboys, Ben.
That's true. Well, why didn't they recruit any cowboys?
True. Good question.
Do you reckon that would they call someone... Is there people who specialise in farm animals within the police? Not necessarily farm animals, but for situations like escaped animals.
Do you not have something... Is animal control not a thing? That's a thing, isn't it, in America? So I imagine...
So why didn't they deploy them and not just the police?
Good question. Maybe the police...
story sounds flimsy.
It does, doesn't it? Right.
Okay.
I'm going to have to press you for a decision, Ben.
Okay. First one.
A little Brexit the cat.
First one is true. Second one is... I feel so much tension now I know the scores. First one's true. Second one's true. They're both true.
They're both true.
They're both true. It's real news.
They are both true.
Okay. You said that in a way like you were, but you're wrong
but
still.
you beat me. God damn it.
Oh, good. Okay.
I still think you're in an advantageous state here.
Well, how would you like to change the game?
I don't know.
I'll let you set the rules.
Just because if there was only one,
Yeah.
and because then you can only get it right or wrong, can't you?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's fine.
Yeah.
I'd just have to be better.
I don't think I'd change how because I'm not thinking, if I just blank it, I'll get a point.
Yeah.
I'm assessing each one individually.
I just don't like losing, Ben.
You just
I want
don't
to
like
win.
losing. Well, now, hang on. That means I'm 3 points clear now.
Gosh, damn it.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe I'll have to bring a five pointer next
That
week.
they both sounded so specific.
Right.
I thought that you'd have had to be, not saying you're not clever, but you'd have had to be there's some very creative thinking there.
Right,
if
well,
you'd made them
I
up.
will get more creative. Then.
Okay. Challenge accepted.
A man eats a bacon-flavoured crayon
Yeah.
and sues Crayola.
Yeah.
Fake or not?
Fake.
God damn it.
I'm too good.
Now I can't use that one.
Right then.
Claims it's not halal. It's not kosher.
That is where you get me. I think the more details that go in.
All right.
Okay.
But now that could be a double bluff.
Yeah.
So
it
now,
could be.
yeah, next
Well, now I've said that, I feel like we're going to have an hour-long segment next week where you've written 500-word essays.
the next one, the real news next week is going to be something happens about Brexit.
Uh-huh.
And then the fake news is going to be some really detailed plots about JK Rowling's second cousin.
That probably will happen.
There you go.
Right then.
Right. Do we want... What's your opinion on Brexit?
It's not good.
It's not good. Yeah.
Well, at the moment, are we getting political?
Yeah, go on.
At the moment, I feel like no one on either side's benefiting
Yeah.
because no decisions are being reached. Full stop.
Yeah. We've recently had a vote in the UK Parliament to say, yes, we'd like a delay. But then we still have to go to the rest of the EU and say, please can we delay it? And if they go no, then we're like...
Because I feel like
shit,
in the current state, we're either going to leave with terrible deals, no deals,
Yeah.
or we're going to stay with... There's got to be some repercussions there as well.
Yeah.
It's just not good for anyone.
Yeah, it's not going great. And then
No.
recently, I heard on the news that Theresa May can't bring her deal to the table again in the UK Parliament.
Right.
Because one of the laws is you can't make the Parliament vote on the same thing more than once or like more than twice or whatever it is. So basically she can't just go away, try and do deals in the back end.
And then come back
and say like, oh yeah, here's my deal again. Do you want to make another vote?
Yeah.
And the answer basically is like...
I wonder what the rules there are with how much she can change to make it viable again.
I think the wording is quite flimsy. I think it has
Yeah.
to just be a big enough change. So if she goes to the EU and they grant a delay, then maybe that'll be a big enough change in the whole situation for them to be able to vote again.
Yeah.
But it's just a bit of a shambles at the moment, isn't it?
Yep. What I'm saying is she couldn't go away, whack out a thesaurus, just
No.
change some words and say it's changed now.
I put a semicolon here
Yeah.
instead of a comma. We all vote on that. No, basically not.
Yeah.
So it's all a bit of a mess, isn't it?
I feel like that's a tangent here. When you were at uni and you're having to hand in essays, did you ever do that thing of to hit the word count, just kind of rewrite 3 lines saying the same point in a slightly different way just to bump it up that little bit?
Yeah, so it there was always like there's some repeated phrase that you might have to do, and if I was like struggling I was like over the word count, that phrase gets shortened to like a 3 letters acronym, and if not, it's like it stays as the full phrase throughout.
Yeah.
Right, shall we move on?
I think we probably should.
Yeah. New section.
New segment, yes.
That's not news. That's new.
What are we calling this?
Um.
What you been up to this week that you'd like to share on mic?
Yes, but I feel like there's got to be a sheep pun in here somewhere. Will I enjoy it?
Will I enjoy it?
Bad or not?
That could work.
We can't have too many or nots though, can we?
Will I enjoy it? I like that.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I'm not sure I enjoy We'll think about
Will
it.
I enjoy that name? No.
No.
Will I enjoy it? Have you been enjoying anything this week?
No.
No. Nothing.
Well, you're the one that came to me said you wanted to do this section.
Well, yeah, but I thought you might have had something going on as well. I mean, you don't have to. I'm not pressing you for...
Have you heard of that TV show, Friends?
Yeah.
I enjoyed that.
Is that that new one?
Will you enjoy it? Yes.
Yes. Friends is good.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go. There's one from me.
Well, I thought that we could do like a recurring thing where we talk about things that we would recommend that we've either watched or done this week.
Okay.
And I've watched a lot of Netflix this week.
Okay. Treating yourself.
Have you heard of Ricky Gervais's new
After Life?
After Life?
Yes. I've seen it advertised everywhere.
I would recommend.
You would?
Yeah. It's not the cheeriest of things. Premise is his wife dies.
Right.
This isn't spoilers. This is just how it starts.
Yes.
His wife dies. He can't cope with her dying, so he decides he's going to kill himself, then decides, no, I shouldn't kill myself because I've got to feed and look after the dog. So he decides to cope with his loss. He's just going to be the biggest bellend in the world and go about his life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's the premise.
For me, it just seems like it's just a documentary on Ricky Gervais. Like, do they just follow him around in everyday interactions and he's just a bellend to people?
Kind of.
But in a comedic way.
I was going to say, because this show is dark and a little depressing at times, but it is a comedy as well.
Well, Ricky Gervais kind of is a little bit on the edge with comedy, isn't he?
Yeah. That's kind of his thing, isn't it? And I would, from the premise, it doesn't really sound like it would be that enjoyable.
Right.
But it is.
Okay.
Would recommend.
Would recommend.
That's
what I'm trying to say. Wood and wool are close enough that I feel like there should be some sort of pun there.
Okay. Would recommend.
Would. Okay, we're getting a bit silly here. Anything else? What about the podcast Steal the Stars?
Oh, Steal the Stars.
Yes.
Because
I recommended that to you.
You did. And I, about 5 months later, decided that I would finally get around to it. It was an audiobook, but also not a normal audiobook because things were acted out with sounds and characters and all that jazz.
It's basically a radio drama.
Yeah.
In podcast form.
Yeah. Which was around aliens?
Yes.
I don't want to get too spoilery.
It's sci-fi.
Sci-fi.
Yeah.
I will say I majoritively enjoyed this.
Mm-hmm. No, let's go right. If you want to listen to this, we're about to probably talk about it more in depth.
Yeah.
If you don't want any spoilers, go and listen to it. If not, just listen to us.
Yeah.
Okay, what did you enjoy about it?
I enjoyed all of the build-up.
Yep.
Leading up to the last couple of episodes.
Yeah.
And then I felt like the last two episodes, one episode, it got let down.
Yeah, I thought so as well.
I felt like it thought it was cleverer than it was a lot of the time. And I also stopped buying the characters majoritively with their intentions.
For sure.
I felt like their characters were written a certain way, and then because he wanted the story to go a certain way, he very lazily just changed how these characters would act.
Yeah.
So the lead character's a very driven, kind of like career military person.
Yeah.
And then at some point in the story, just her love for this person overcomes all of her morals and everything, and she just becomes a different person in the space of in no space at all.
No, it was in basically one episode. She changes it's okay to have a love interest.
Yeah.
But then the idea is you're not supposed to have a love interest on this area.
Yeah.
Where they're working because it takes away from something. I feel like that was weak.
Yeah.
It was it starts out by saying, no rule, one of the rules is no love interests between each other, no sexual activities, because for some reason it takes away command, probably. I don't know. And then it becomes such a big deal that she kind of betrays her own country.
Yep.
Wants to sell this kind of alien artifact, spaceship and alien, to a totally different country for millions and millions of pounds. Doesn't tell the person that she's in love with, and then they go on the run.
Yeah.
And then the ending.
Yeah.
Right at the end. What is your opinion on that?
I thought it kind of came out of nowhere and wasn't satisfying.
Oh my days.
I felt the whole thing that kept me listening, and that kept me, because I kind of binged listened to it all.
Yeah.
Because it was quite engaging from the beginning.
It was.
And my engagement kind of dwindled the more I listened. Because I remember I was listening to the last episode and saw there's 20 minutes left. and there was no real conclusion in sight.
Yeah.
And then there wasn't really any conclusion in sight either, because her love interest died, I think, and it ends with her
taking over the world.
I think her line was like, we started running and we ran.
Yeah.
And then it ended.
I did quite like the music though, that it's like it's quite upbeat, wasn't it? Like getting into it. It's like clappers, isn't it? So I quite enjoyed the music to it, but it started off really well. I like the premise.
Most of the way through it was good, and then it just got let down.
There was the only awkward bit. I think I mentioned this to you early on, like when I recommended it, is that the only awkward bit was when they're doing like love scenes, and it's like
that was so awkward.
Like down your ear.
There was one
and now
bit.
I've just done it to everyone listen to this.
There was one bit. I was going swimming when I was listening to that particular episode, and you know when you're in the car and you kind of have it quite loud so you can hear it over the engine noise and road noise.
Yep.
And then I pulled up, parked, and turned off the engine, and the sounds kept going, and it literally just sounded like I was listening to porn because there was just very loud sex noises.
Yeah.
And that was embarrassing.
It was.
Also, the acting was a bit flimsy in places.
Yeah, some people were good, some people weren't.
Some people were very overacting. Like, it felt like some people... I thought the main character, she was good.
Yeah, I thought she was
consistently.
really good. Yeah.
And then there was like a scientist guy, I can't remember his name. One of them anyway, but who kept like doing this kind of stutter. But it just felt like he was reading a script with a stutter, where he was like, well, let me tell you something. I was like, just calm down. Like,
oh, I'm a wacky scientist trope.
Yeah, trope for sure.
Trope for sure.
I hate stories that...
I hate stories. All
stories are rubbish. No, I hate it when they rely on a crutch of being human or love. Like, the best thing about who we are is love.
Right.
And that solves everything. It's the reason I stopped watching Doctor Who. Is like, you know, when there'd be a problem, you'd get 2/3 through the episode, and then... the Doctor, I'm talking about, I think Matt Smith and David Tennant were when I was watching it in these instances, and he'd suddenly have like an epiphany. He'd be like, oh, it's love, that's what it is, and then love would just solve everything. Mm-hmm. That's kind of what this story did.
You tell me you don't like love, then.
I hate love. No, it's just I hate it when it just becomes the crutch of the story. It just feels lazy. There's no reason for it happening. It's just,
I feel like they had a cool premise, but the story was really a romance.
Yeah. But a romance that didn't make sense.
No. So, would you recommend?
No.
I feel like we started off saying we would recommend this, and then kind of like didn't.
No. I recommend the premise for another writer to go write a better story.
I think I recommended this to you after I'd listened to maybe half the episodes.
Okay.
So and then it finished, and I didn't want to ruin it.
If I was halfway through, I'd recommend. Yeah.
Yeah. But not anymore.
Not anymore.
Right.
So, pointless segment?
Pointless segment. No, because would you recommend... Will you recommend... No, I can't.
I think you're flogging a dead horse here.
Yeah. Flog it to me? Flock it to me.
Oh, my God.
No? Okay, I'll stop.
Shall we move on?
We'll move on.
We'll move on.
We'll move on.
Right then.
Right.
What are we talking about?
I kind of hinted right at the beginning of us doing this podcast that I was working towards a business idea. Mm-hmm. So, and it's kind of worked. So I wanted to come out and say it to everybody that's like wondering what it was. And everybody,
everyone from episode 1 has been on the edge of their seats, going, "What is this idea?
What is it about?" Yeah. So I thought I'd come out and say my idea is that I'm a teacher and I enjoy chess. Mm-hmm. Why not be a chess teacher, basically? Yeah. So my idea was to go in and run after school clubs and have kids come to them, pay me to come to them, and I would make money that way. Mm-hmm. And I a few weeks ago, I got into my first school and I'm oversubscribed, and I got like 20 kids plus how many are oversubscribed at the moment. So it's gone really well. I'm happy, but I was so nervous. Mm-hmm. But it's gone pretty well so far.
It's gone better than you could have imagined?
Yes.
Yeah.
So the first week it happened, I was so anxious for like... I rarely get anxious for things.
Didn't realise quite how anxious you were.
Yeah. until
well, I texted you. I was like, "Oh, how are you feeling about tomorrow?" Because I knew it was the first day you'd be doing it.
yeah.
And then your response was kind of, you weren't sleeping. You were. I didn't realize quite how nervous you were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever been this kind of anxious or nervous for anything. So I didn't sleep well for maybe a week, 3 days at least running up to it.
Yeah.
And I had this like horrible pain in my jaw where I think I was like holding my tension. Like as I was sleeping, I was just like tensing my jaw.
Yep.
And it wasn't for like a week until after that my jaw finally sorted itself out. And once I'd done the session, it went great.
Yeah.
All the kids really enjoyed it. The school were happy.
Everything fell into place.
It just sailed through, and I got all my money.
Yeah, because I think what we were talking about, and like the scope of today was being self-employed, wasn't it? It was the vague topic. And I think the important thing that we were talking about before is when you're putting everything into one basket.
Yeah.
On you. There's no one above you to rely on. You're literally just putting yourself on the line when you're starting your own business or whatever it is, being self-employed. So I can completely understand the nervousness.
Yeah.
There's no fallback there.
No, and it was even when I was started doing my teacher training, I never felt like that going into a class. I never felt... Maybe so I did my teacher training, but then never actually taught a class that was my own. Yeah. Maybe I would feel different for that. Yeah. Where that is, you are a lone teacher and that all the pressure's on you. Yeah,
because nerves come with any new job. But like you said, when a school has booked you, they've not booked through a company, not on anyone else's word. They've booked you.
Yeah. Yeah, it was... and I felt like I had to try and be bigger than I was as well. Yeah. Like I didn't want to just go to schools and be like, hi, I teach chess. I wanted to come across as like a reputable company that has people that teaches chess, kind of, but it's just me. And then the assistant head was like, so how many other schools are you in? Which made me quite happy because it looked like I was good enough that I would have multiple schools, but I was like, it's just you. Yeah. So, but they seemed quite happy with that. Yeah. They were offering this to their children. Yeah. So it's gone well. This is what I've kind of been working towards for a long time. This is the reason why I do my bakery job. Yeah. That starts at 5:30 in the morning so that I could do stuff in the day and then work towards
and set up this.
Yeah, the after school. So I'm pretty happy.
I'm happy for you.
Thank you.
When we were just talking about that, I wanted to learn my head. Do you kind of get when we were talking about jobs as a wider thing on an earlier episode? I was talking about kind of that imposter syndrome feeling. Yeah. Did you feel any of that going into this?
A little bit, yeah. Yeah. Especially when I'm like in contact with schools. When I'm there and in the class and I'm teaching, I feel comfortable there.
Yeah, you don't think about it then.
But the actual like running the business side, emailing people, kind of ringing up and being like, "Hi, I'm a businessman. Yeah, I can do stuff for you." Yeah, I feel like I'm a proper fraud.
Yeah, it's a weird feeling, isn't it?
Yeah,
because you kind of know that you're qualified for what you're setting out to do. Otherwise, you wouldn't be doing it.
For sure.
But I always find with from my side of things, like when I'm gigging, I don't think about it. That feels normal. But then when I was doing a bit of teaching, I feel like it's a different thing because you're saying that you can impart knowledge onto someone else. Yeah. Because you know enough about this field. I feel like there's nothing that more... I feel more nervous when I started doing a bit of teaching on the side than when I was performing. Yeah. Which is weird.
Yeah, I guess you have to have a greater ability to teach maybe than to perform. Yeah. Possibly like, it's basically my knowledge is so much better than your knowledge. I can give you a fraction of what I know and you're still learning. I can teach you week by week a little bit and here's a little nugget for you. Yeah. You know now. Do you know what I mean? So I feel teaching is kind of like that with whatever you're doing. Yeah. For sure. Even if it's like maths or English. That's why even when I was doing my teaching, when I've never been so confident in English and that kind of grammar rules and all those spellings. I've never been great. Yeah. So when I was doing that, I always felt more nervous than something like maths where I felt much more comfortable. Yeah. Do I fit the chess stereotype that I don't really like English and I was much better at maths and science?
I was going to say I wouldn't really associate any stereotype there, but
I think chess has been stereotyped into being a bit nerdy.
Yeah. Well, you painted that stereotype. Was it last week when you were talking about when you went to the chess competition? Oh yeah. And you were like, they're all a bunch of weird.
It's true. It's true. But the kids are all just kids. Do you know what I mean? They're not weird kids.
No.
Maybe they are. I don't know that
Maybe
many. You asked me the other week as well, what's the gender split there? So I did half mention this in another podcast. And I said it's probably even, but then I had a double check, and it's not. It's definitely the majority boys.
Male dominated.
Yeah. Which is interesting.
Like hugely.
It's not like there's no girls there.
Yeah.
But there is. That would be a very boy heavy class. Yeah. I think there is maybe 5 girls, maybe 15 boys then.
Okay.
So it is quite
over half then.
Yeah. So have you made any mistakes being self-employed then? Like, so that I can try and avoid them. Teach me your ways of being self-employed.
Well, I think we're in very different fields, aren't we?
True, but there's still some things, surely.
I've said this to you before. The biggest thing for me, and I only realised this much later on, was get on top of the accounting early.
Yeah.
Things that you just take for granted with tax going out with an employer, having to manage that yourself was stressful. Just get an accountant.
Yeah. I think that's what I am going to do that.
Yeah.
It's just like I've only had one bit of income come in now, and I feel like maybe I should start doing it as soon as it starts becoming a regular thing. Yeah,
maybe set like a threshold for when you hit that amount, then get an accountant.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it might be a bit overkill.
It's not worth the money, is it?
That's the bit I was very out of my depth with.
All the money and
keeping
tax.
on top of. Yeah, it's like I just want to do music. I
yes,
want to look at the numbers. Yeah. But I'd say the biggest thing, like pro-wise, is managing your own time and managing yourself.
Yeah.
I'd find it I would struggle now going back to having a boss.
A proper job.
A proper job. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just the freedom's great.
Yeah.
I mean, it comes with the drawbacks of no sick pay, no real weekends, but then the benefit is any time that you're not working is your time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that not like the same with a normal job?
True, but I mean, you can you pick what you do. It's not like you get sent a rota. You can be like, I know I need to work this. I'm going to lay out how I want. And then I suppose this is different with mine. I only would do evenings and weekends majoritively, which means that, and when I work, it's only for like 2 hours in one go, effectively, rather than not. Yeah.
Yeah, but you don't get any, paid time off. If you don't work, you don't get paid.
You don't work.
If you're sick, you don't get paid.
Yeah.
So, and it's very. Do you feel it's still flimsy? Like I think for myself, I'd need quite a few schools and for it to be coming in regularly for me to quit my day job, as it were.
Yeah.
Before I would feel comfortable that, yes, this is going to continue in the way that it is.
Yeah. I suppose yes and no. For the first couple of years, it definitely felt very flimsy because I didn't have, like with music, it's not like all the time they're not going to say, oh, we're going to have you every week for this time and we're going to pay you the same. It's just like, oh, here's one, and then we might have you back in 3 months for another. But I feel like now there's enough of them that it feels almost like contracted work, although it's not. But yeah, there's always that drawback that it could all stop, and then you'd have to go through it all again.
Yeah.
I suppose it's like the cumulative build-up, though, of 3 years almost of doing it now, that it's kind of compiled into the spectrum's being wide enough that now there's enough there to feel a bit safer.
And you feel more comfortable.
Yeah.
My long-term worry is that, so if you've spoken in the past about moving to London, you would obviously be then starting all over again with gigs and stuff like that. How does moving work for you? How would you think that works going forward?
That is, well, my plan there is if we our plan is that we'll stay in Liverpool a while longer, but still head down south maybe at some point. And my plan is to effectively commute for a few days a week while I'm still in Liverpool to try and build the connections in London before I go.
So you would just do it slowly?
Slowly.
So you'd be like, I want to move in a year.
Yeah, kind of like with starting this in Liverpool. When I was still at uni in my third year, I spent a lot of time trying to build the connections before I graduated to set up enough work to live off. Because otherwise, I don't think there's many self-employed things where you could just quit your day job and then start going. I say day job. I was at uni, so same thing though, you know what I mean? So I think as long as you kind of can successfully get that transition period done first, it's possible.
Yeah, I think so. That's why I wouldn't I needed to get a proper job
Proper
before
job.
before I could truly start what I was doing, because I couldn't just not earn any money
Yeah.
for the period of time that it would have taken me to get it started.
Yeah.
But I do worry that long term, me and Annie don't want to live in Liverpool forever.
Mm-hmm.
So, say we want to move back east. It's weird, like going towards Manchester or Lancaster, where our families are.
Yeah.
Then it's the same kind of thing. I'd have to then restart up the whole business
Process
again
again.
elsewhere. Yeah, like
Yeah.
looking for schools.
Yeah.
And I think that it'd be the same kind of thing where we'd have to plan in advance. I would want to move in a year's time.
Yeah.
Start really pushing for it in different schools in a different area, because I guess I could commute. It's not a big deal.
I suppose it depends on the field, but you can always, again, being self-employed, it's not like you'd have to apply for a transfer, but
No.
you're free to transfer
Whenever
those
you
skills
want.
to somewhere else. And also, I think another advantage is kind of, or disadvantage, I suppose, as well, is diversifying what you're doing, that you have that freedom to spend your time doing other things to try and have multiple income streams rather than
diversifying your
the
income
one. Yeah.
portfolio, as it were.
Yeah, God, this is very adult, isn't it?
We're middle-aged now.
Yeah. But I was going for things like doing this podcast, if we both had 9-to-5 jobs, it'd definitely be harder.
Yeah,
to
it'd be
do
much more
this.
difficult. We'd have less time to do it. And I think we're both if I had a Tesco job where I was working in the day and then you basically work evenings and weekends,
Yeah,
we'd see each other less often and have less time to do this.
for sure.
So quite lucky that way.
Yeah.
So self-employed.
Oh, God, let's not go
Will you
into this
recommend?
I will recommend
Yeah.
being self-employed.
Do you think it's for everybody though? Do you think some people
No.
just wouldn't work for them?
No.
No.
I mean, there's no sense of schedule
No.
in my work. The closest I get is when I've got some residencies at bars.
Yeah.
But then there's other things that come from weddings or original works, even more sporadic, like if support slots came up or a tour. And then once that's done, there's nothing else for potentially months. So, yeah, if you can live with that, then it's good.
Here's a question for the future, Ben.
Yeah.
Well, for right now, but talking about the future.
Okay.
Have you started doing anything towards a pension?
No, but that's very much on my mind.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
at
What
the
would
moment.
you do? I've not even looked into it, like what self-employed people
I've not
can
looked
do.
into it, and I know I need to look into it.
I imagine there are probably two possibilities. There are probably, you can go to a company and say, I want to pay into a pension. And then you maybe pay into a pool pension. Like basically that'd be like what a company pension is, but they do it for lots of different people. Or you just save money as like towards a pension. Or the third option, I guess, is working towards being financially independent.
Yeah.
So having income where you don't necessarily have to work in the same way that you work now.
Yeah.
For example, owning property, stuff like that.
That was like you mentioned earlier with the houses. That's a big decision for me, was thinking when I was pricing up rent, which could come to just a number, say like 10,000 a year.
Yeah.
That's money that you're not going to get back.
No.
Whereas if you do put it into property, it's effectively a very long-term savings account if you come to sell that.
Yeah.
So things like that add a little bit of security in the back of my mind somewhere.
Yeah. The problem with housing is though that the housing can crash and population, stuff like that. Right, it's all very serious, isn't it?
It is very serious, yeah.
But basically, I just want to say I'm enjoying the self-employedness that I'm getting, and I'd like to work towards that.
How are you? Have you got a plan?
Make money.
Solid plan.
No, I'm working towards getting more and more schools. And then when I have enough schools, then I'll have a kind of a base of children that may or may not want, additional tutoring in chess and stuff like that. And then I would like to run tournaments outside of the school. So maybe on like a Saturday, I'll run, maybe if I've got 20 kids, 5 schools, that's 100 kids.
Yeah.
I could run a tournament of 100 kids, win different sections, winners get prizes. And then I would still make money for running the tournaments. You can do actual gradings, that kind of stuff. So there is ability for expansion for sure. And then, real long term, could I turn it into a full scale business? Could I hire people to do the same thing I'm doing in different schools?
Yeah.
With my reputation as being a teacher in different schools, because in reality, I could only ever do 5 schools a week.
Yeah.
And I could do lunchtime clubs paid by schools, and I could also do a out of school club that starts at like 6.
Yeah.
And the kids come to that, and that's for like more advanced stuff.
Yeah.
So yes, there's expansion.
Yeah.
But I feel like I've got a way to go, yeah.
Because I was going to, like you said, I suppose there's a natural cap that you physically cannot do more unless you get more people or if you adjust your pricing.
Yeah.
Because that was a big thing for me was, say it was a certain amount, say it was 20 quid for one gig. Mm-hmm. When I reached the maximum gigs I could fit in, that kind of came to a point where it was like, I should probably actually start charging money now. And that's when it started feeling like a job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of getting your foot in the door with that kind of thing, isn't it?
I feel like you have to make sacrifices at the beginning in some way.
For sure.
Which is when you lead to that whole issue of, we can't pay you, but we can give you great exposure.
Did you get that a lot, actually? Because obviously I'm not in that kind of business, but how did you deal with that?
All the time. I think it's one of the biggest issues is that there's so many venues that aren't willing to pay.
Right.
There's still so many people that... This sounds like I'm very elitist, I suppose, when you're like, there's going to be a lot of bedroom musicians who are perfectly comfortable working 9 to 5 and then playing a gig for a pint.
Right.
They might not necessarily be amazing. They might be amazing. But then people who do make a living off it, there's a lot of venues that will just be like, I can give this guy a pint and they won't pay.
Yeah. Why should I pay you to come and play here if... my brother's mate Billy says he'll do it for a pint and a high five. Yeah. How do you deal with that? Do you still get offers like that now?
Yeah, but now I'm in a position. It might change again. Like you said, in a year, any venues can fold or decide to cut music and stuff. But it's I feel in a position now where if a gig comes up and it happened literally last week at the gig I was at. Someone had a venue. They were like, I really love your sound. They were watching us at a venue. Gave me their card and they were like, we're on a pretty tight budget, so we can't pay you. But if you want to come down and just give it a go, that'd be great. And I was like, thanks very much, but no thanks.
Yeah.
Just because there's no space for that.
It seems crazy to me that people will do that for some sort of... Like, there are certain businesses, obviously, there's certain stuff that happens with. Yeah. But because you wouldn't do it, I run a shop. Yeah. If you want to come in and stack shelves for free, I can give you a reference. Yeah. It just doesn't. You wouldn't. That would never happen.
I think like a lot of because I think the thing is because music is it's a leisure thing. Like it's not essential to like the business wouldn't fold if music wasn't there, but it might benefit. Like the reason that most of them they'll like place it at times where they're trying to get people to stay for drinks at a time and then, or try and get people to come in from outside if they've got speakers outside, stuff like that. So like the good thing is there are a lot of venues that recognize it's helpful to them and will plan for it accordingly. But then a lot of people, I think they just view it as, they're obviously doing it just for a bit of fun. That's all it is. But they don't think about the equipment, the rehearsal time, the travel, there's a lot that goes
you have
into
to
it.
live, and money is almost essential to do that.
It's a skilled job. You couldn't just pick up a guitar and do it. I mean, I'm not saying it's the hardest job in the world, but you know what I mean. Yeah. It is a bit infuriating when that happens constantly.
Have you ever gotten to a gig that you had the assumption or they'd said they were going to pay you and then was kind of like, no, we're not paying you?
Luckily, I've not really had that happen.
Right.
I know that has happened a lot to people that I know. I think the closest it's happened is there was a venue that tried to underpay me on New Year. We'd agreed a fee and they underpaid me by 150 off that fee. Right. But luckily I just make sure now from things happening in the past that I effectively send a contract through that I get them to agree to beforehand, and then I'll just get the email and be like, no, you've literally said here this much.
Was that when we came and watched you?
No, that was a different one.
Okay, cool.
No, they actually paid.
Right.
Yeah.
Self-employed.
Good
things. I'm sure we'll come back to this because I'll probably in the future say how my business is going and how we'll check back in.
Yeah. But you're enjoying self-employed?
Yeah.
life.
It was so surreal.
Yeah.
Being paid to be me.
Yeah.
Like it was like I'd just been given I was like a charge over like a 6-week period, and all these kids had just paid me, and I just had all this money, this like chunk of money that I was like, I've never been paid like this before, because I'd never been paid like
I couldn't
cash.
believe. I don't know why I couldn't believe it. You said you were going to the bank to cash it in.
Yeah.
And you said
I'd never done
put cash into a bank before.
No, because banks, you take money out of a bank. I never once have I put money into a bank until that time.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not that crazy because most places just pay by bank, but yeah.
Yeah, so it was all.
But I think there's a very rewarding feeling that the same way that everything bad that happens is on you, all the good things that happen are on you as well.
True.
It can be rewarding.
Yeah, there's no other person that's made this happen than me, really. Yeah. I've put the work in to get this school, and it feels good.
Yeah.
Not saying that I haven't been supported, for sure, because I'm sure my girlfriend and my mum are listening to this saying, you better say we helped out a lot and that kind of stuff, but and I appreciate those that have helped me out.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's all me. It's all me, baby.
There's a question. How did the people close to you feel about going down this route?
I've not had any negative comments at all, really. I think once I got myself, so I came out of teaching, had no job, and then once I got a kind of my Tesco job, that people were much happier for me then to explore this as a medium. Yeah. Because having no money is not good.
No.
But I've not had anybody say to me it's a bad idea. Yeah. Everybody that I've spoke to said, oh, it's a pretty good idea. Yeah. That could probably work. I think my kids would really enjoy that kind of stuff. Yeah. But I don't know whether that's just people. Well, I didn't know whether that was just people saying, oh yeah, that'd be great.
People being nice to your face and then being like, what an idiot.
Chess. No one plays chess. But now that I'm in a school and I'm oversubscribed, I feel good.
There's some validity to doing that there. Yeah.
So we'll see how it goes.
And then maybe you'll change the opinion of those people who say, nobody plays chess, because you're inspiring those kids to play chess.
It's true. Yeah. So what do people think around me? They've kind of said it's a good idea, I think.
Yeah. Good.
Right. Should we call that?
Yeah, let's call it. Time of death. 2 point.
Time of James's job's death. Next 6 months.
Well, if you've enjoyed what you've been listening to, you can find us in all the usual places. At twosheepindapool.com. If you want to email any topics you want to hear us talk about, if you've got any problems we could solve, maybe you've got a workplace dispute, we're experts there.
Yep.
For any problems. Email in at bar@twosheepinapool.com. BAA like sheep. I think that's it.
Yep.
Till next time.
I've been James.
And I've been James.
Thank you.
See you later.
Bye.